Well, on my related DIY channel, you'll know why that's all opened up. We've been sealing holes all over the place, keeps the bugs out. But I am laying down, trying to get better from the flu before I go to Germany. As a mechanic who's also a surgical tech who's taking a contract to do surgery for a period of time over in Germany, uh, I'm part of the surgical team. I'm thinking about what I need when I get to Germany. I've been there before on a contract back in '05, '06, and it's a really good opportunity. I look forward to going to Germany again. From my visit there last time, you don't really need a car. You can use trains and things to get around actually quite a lot, and some of the places trains don't go to because those kind of follow the rails. They actually have quite the bus system. I had a great deal of difficulty figuring out the bus system when I was there last time, but a couple of friends figured it out. You have to have a lot of German awareness in streets, and that was something that was difficult for me to remember. Something that is interesting, though, is a lot of people actually speak English quite well. So even though some of my favorite things to eat, like doner kebabs, were made by people that didn't know English, it was pretty easy to order from a menu, even if you didn't speak a language. It might just be difficult to share how much or what size, or if you want this with that. Uh, mit means with, so they're like mit drink, except they say it in German, and you're like nine, you know, or um, uh, with water. If you want it with water, mit Wasser. Okay. So I remember a little bit, and a little bit more is coming back, especially as I've been preparing for another thing. Even though you don't need your own transportation, I think that it is easier to do quick errands um, if you have a vehicle. Not necessarily if you're going to go down into Kaiserslautern, but if you're going to, say, go down into Landstuhl or neighboring areas and do some quick errands, having a vehicle will be helpful with that. Plus, remember, my first channel is DE Nichols versus the Das Nichols. My way of saying who I am for this channel. I I was considering a lot of channel names like German Nichols, because I'm going to Germany and it's still my name, like my other channel. But I told my friend, he said he likes the idea of Das Nichols. Probably all those VW commercials that we love so much that are in German that you don't get to see here. Speaking of Volkswagen, I've been trying to research what would be a good car to get over there. And when you're going used, it's because it's something you're not going to have for very long. You want to be able to resell it pretty easily. Um, you don't want a fancy, expensive car. Um, Probably can afford to get a fancy, more expensive car, but then you have to get back to the States. If you buy a newer German car, it's not going to be legal in America. If you buy a really old German car, America will forgive you, but you'll have to update certain things like get it American tires and things like that. But it's not that big of a deal if it's like something that's considered a classic. I found one interesting website which actually talked about what was the most common car on the Autobahn. And they're not fancy cars for the most part. I mean, yeah, there's a few BMWs and Mercedes in the top 10 and the top 20, and they're spattered across, but they're mostly more people's cars. I know Volkswagen means people's cars, but um, that's kind of like what the BMW, basic BMW and Mercedes are. They have basic cars that they sell over here like they're luxury, and to them, they're a more normal car. In fact, if I wanted one, I could get one for probably 40% less. I don't know the exact numbers. I haven't looked into that one. But if you wanted a new one, you could get one for like 40% less over there than you would here. The catch is if you don't have it there long enough and you bring it home to America, then you have to pay taxes on it when you bring it over. And that could be quite a bit of money on a newer car. But my last time I was in Germany, a lot of people, or if some people, bought cars they liked really a lot over there. They liked certain German cars like a Mini Cooper. And they said they got it on such a good deal and they could drive it and the dealer was going to ship it home for them for free as a part of this big old deal to make sure that they can still sell cars to people who aren't there very long. I'm not the only one that takes contracts there temporarily. So there's a lot of ways that this can go well if you want a new car. I don't like new cars. I like to have stuff to work on. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to work on a car too much, but if a car is old enough that it has a few issues and it needs maintenance, it can make some great YouTube videos for me for my other channel. Also looking into what I would need to get a German driver's license. And there's a program with someone from my background that at least 14 years ago, last time I went, 15 years ago, it wasn't that hard, but at the same time, they gave the class and expect you to take the class test right away. And I was so jet lagged, I couldn't concentrate. So I know now that I need to be studied up for the test before I get there. And an actual German getting a German driver's license is actually a very difficult thing to do. So the fact that they make it not too difficult for Americans, some Germans are like, oh, that's not fair. And other ones are like, well, do they want them to drive here at all? No. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Shaking the camera. I can't really tripod laying down, getting better from the flu. Feel pretty good laying down though. Puts more blood in your head, you know? Honestly, this has been a brutal flu. 3 weeks in, and I can work. I mean, the other night I worked for like 3 hours, but in the truth of it, I did about 30 minutes of work. Whew. And then I was violently sick afterwards. But I think that was actually kind of helpful towards getting better because, yeah, we're not going to put that on YouTube. Gross flu stuff. I'll leave that alone.